3-minute rounds of boxing in the welterweight division. Introducing to you firstly, boxing out of the blue corner, wearing the black collar shorts trimmed with silver. At the weighing he scale 10 stone 1 pound. He hails from Reading, presenting smoking Ibrar Riyaz. And opposing him, boxing out of the red corner, wearing the spangled red, blue, silver shorts trimmed with black. At the weighing he scale 10 stone 2 pounds 3 ounces. Perfect record, 5 contests, 5 wins. Presenting from the superb city of Salford, the undefeated Luke Evans. Timekeeper at the bell, Barry Pinder, star referee Phil Edwards with his final instructions, 6 3-minute rounds.
Here we go, 6 3-minute rounds. Luke Evans, Ibrar Riyaz, welterweight. Always like seeing Luke, good fighter. Ibrar Riyaz was my favourite journeyman up until last week. Yusuf El Hamidi, he was fantastic last week.
Seconds out, round 1.
I think Yusuf could still beat a lot of people if he really put his mind to it.
So could a lot of these journeymen. One from Manchester, William Warburton, certainly could have won titles, I think. There was a flyweight from Birmingham a few years ago, Anthony Hanna.
Yeah.
He made a much better fight, really was a good fighter.
The problem is the phone stops ringing, isn't it?
Hey, the phone stops ringing, yeah, exactly right. It's interesting because, you know, Luke Evans, he really is meeting the who's who of journeymen so far. I think there's a 3rd centurion he's met. Matt Seawright, Christian Late, and now Ibrar Riyaz. He's also fought Lee Connolly, who's not a bad fighter at all. Another one of those journeymen who could be better.
Yeah, Lee Connolly's good. I spoke to Luke about this and I said, you do know you're going to have to go on the treadmill of Christian Lates. He said, I want to fight Christian Lates. He said, I'm only 20 years old. He said, they get me ready, they get me rounds.
That's absolutely right. You know what? It's all about your first 10, 15 fights when you're a young kid. And I remember Dean Power educated me on this, the late great Dean Power. He would always match his fighters who were young, with not a lot of experience. The first 10 to 15 fights, they would fight journeymen of all sorts of styles. Survivors with no ambition, ones that try, you know, southpaws, orthodox, every different style. And that's who you put them in for the first 15 fights to learn your trade.
You can see Pat Barrett's followed it perfectly with Zelfa, hasn't he?
Yeah, and
he's done the exact same job.
Exactly, and that is what every young fighter should be doing.
I think as well that it shows great maturity as well in the guys that are prepared to take these fights, because a lot of young guys, when they step into the ring, they want to step up in levels quickly and get on those big shows and fight for the big titles, but really all the best fighters have been educated properly in the first few fights.
That's exactly, it's all about matching them right in the first few fights. You know, look, you know, you can get most fighters to 10-0. You just go and look in the European rankings and start from the bottom and bring them in. You know, but you know, matching them sensibly over those first 10-15 fights is an art.
Yeah. What these guys have let Luke do is just sort of create his style. You know, when he first started off, he'd go hell for leather and then go for a walk and then go again in a spurt. But what he's trying to do now is he goes to a body, he steps around, he tries to make them miss.
You know, the big thing a lot of fighters are guilty of when they fight these journeymen, they go head hunting, and because they've had 220 losses or something, think they can knock them out, but it isn't like that. The greatest fighter against journeymen I ever saw was Duke McKenzie. He would just pick his shots. I remember one day, you know, Peter Buckley, who was the king, he just took him apart in 3 rounds, just through picking his shots.
Very underrated, Duke, isn't he?
Fantastic. Should be in the Boxing Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
When you look at some of the people that have got in it.
Yeah, for a European guy to win 3 world titles down in those weights at that time.
You know, when there were lesser titles and lesser opportunities, fantastic, and it's overlooked. You know what Duke achieved is completely overlooked. He was a fantastic fighter. Duke McKenzie in this era, would have been a superstar.
Yeah. It's funny, isn't it, how all of a sudden England went through, and Britain went through 15, 20 years of not producing a world-class small weight fighter. And now we virtually dominate the bantamweights with Zaikhanov. That'll be 3 world titles. Paul Butler's going to get a shot.
Paul Butler, Jamie McDonnell, they're trying to. I think they're pretty close to announcing that.
Kal Yafai.
I mean, I don't know if this WBA order for him to
Corners,
have the
10
rematch.
seconds.
For Jamie to have the rematch has affected it, but I think the Butler fight,
Seconds out.
as far as I believe, is pretty
Round
much sorted.
2.
If they make McDonnell fight that Solis again, would Butler have an interim fight, do you think, or do you think he's had enough of that?
I've no idea what's happening. I mean, I've no idea. I mean, I was as surprised as anybody last week when they announced that he would have to go straight now for the Solis rematch. Whether they'll do an agreement with Solis that the winner fights him straight away, I don't know.
I know we like the British guys to win, but I thought Solis was pretty harshly treated that night.
Look, he won the fight, but you know what? It's one of those things. It does happen in boxing.
Yeah.
You know, he was harshly treated, and he deserved to win. But I think there's been far, far bigger robberies in fights.
The card in the Zaikhanov fight that went to Warren by 6 rounds last week was way worse, wasn't it? Ricky's face was hilarious, wasn't it, when the second card came in?
The second card, and Zanik didn't know until Ricky. Even when Ricky raised his hands, he took about 4 or 5 seconds before it twigged. So pleased for Ricky last week, and you know what? Can't be many world champions in the ring who have trained world champions.
I just hope it gives Ricky a boost. You know, he's been through some tough times, hasn't he? Maybe this will reignite everything in him.
I hope so. He's been through a lot of bad times. You know, the promoting didn't. You know, he's had issues outside the ring, and you know, just looking at the little videos he was putting on Twitter last weekend after that fight, it showed just how much it meant to him, and I haven't seen Ricky that happy in a long, long time.
Yeah, Simon said earlier it was genuine joy, wasn't it? It wasn't a forced smile. It was real happiness.
Just while you were talking then, Evans ripped in about 3 or 4 left hooks to the body, beautifully timed right under the elbow, Riyaz. And it seemed to slow him down briefly, but he's back on the front foot again.
Good shot.
There's those body shots again. Really ripping through the guard, those shots to the body.
Yeah, it's the little foot movements and step around the side that he's picked up in the last 3 or 4 fights that seem to be making a difference.
It's the first time I've seen him, and Gary Buford told me about him a while ago. He's good.
He's a massive Ricky Hatton fan. So although he's probably about 5 inches taller than Ricky, he does like to throw the hooks to the body. It's just taken him a little while to work out exactly how to do it.
I'm biased. How can you not be a massive Ricky Hatton fan?
I think the great thing with commentating on fights where you see fighters develop is that we've picked up things about Luke Evans, how he's developed over the past few fights that you wouldn't really see if you've seen him for the first time. And the fighter he is now compared to the fighter when he made his debut, it's like a completely different fighter, isn't it?
And that's now what we were saying to the matchmaking, to the different sort of journeyman that he is facing.
Hashtag VIP Boxing Live on Twitter. Let us know what you think. Moggs is asking how Si's climb up Snowdon went. That's tomorrow, so you're going to have to ask him tomorrow.
How did you climb up Snowdon go, Symes?
He's already eaten the Kendall mint.
10 seconds.
It's tomorrow, eh?
He's already eaten the Kendall mint cake.
Hey, he's doing the Manchester Half Marathon with me the end of May, and you know what?
3.
I don't know whether Ryder's running with him or what. I might even just go round with Sy. That's what I think I'm going to do. Make sure Sy gets round. Kieran McVarnett and myself are taking on a 10-miler a couple of weeks before at Syme's pace. I'm just going to go round with Sy. We make sure he gets round it, because that'll be. Tell you what, that will be an achievement and a half for him.
I tell you what, we jibe and laugh at each other, but that was a tremendous time last week he did. He took 10 minutes off his personal best.
over 10k.
Yeah.
It's stunning.
Unbelievable.
I'm not just saying that to big him up. That is stunning. When I asked him the time, when he said, and he sent me it, I was like, what? I couldn't believe it.
Yeah. What was it, Simon? Was it 10 minutes you took off? Although he did say he was chasing two little blondes around. Which,
yeah, he
which
told
helped.
me that, yeah. He's living the good life. I think if he does that Manchester half marathon, I think he'll be taking Ryder for a couple beers afterwards.
Become a bit of a runner, Steve, haven't you? What was your first half marathon time? What do you do it in now?
About 1:43 now, my best. My first one was about 1:52. They've all been around there.
Is it harder to take, because when you're running that distance, is it harder to take big chunks off big distances because you're already fit and you're already running it, aren't you?
I usually do about 1:48. My best is 1:43, so it's always between there and 1:52, or if the weather's bad, 1:53. But it's always around 1:48. But you're not going to take the.
Riyaz has just started to put it on Evans a little bit in this round.
Luke will just be having those moments where he's never gone beyond 4 rounds, and he'll now see 6 looming way over the hill in the distance. He'll be beginning to worry about his stamina a little bit.
Riyaz is one of these journeymen, always does try and put himself in the fight. Remarkably tough.
Yeah, he generally starts with the wooing and attacking in the last couple of rounds, doesn't he? What was it that drew you to long distance running, Steve? You know,
Started enjoying it, going out, getting a bit of me time.
Because he's 5k and 10k, that's one thing, but you actually do the long distance runs,
Just
don't
started
you?
enjoying it, really enjoy it. Yeah, just going out, running in a group, running by myself.
Are you a member of the clubs?
No.
No.
I go running with some people at a local gym, but no club. I just train myself.
Coming up for round 4, let us know what you think. Hashtag VIP Boxing Live. Long card tonight, long card. We're a little bit behind schedule, but it's flown by actually. We've had some entertaining stuff. Quick run through the results. Jordan Latimer got his career off to a good start actually, wasn't it? A 4-round decision over Dwayne Green. Omar Dusri will be disappointed when he looks back. That was a scrappy win over Craig Derbyshire, but he got there in the end.
Corners, 10 seconds.
Sharpie Oldham had his hands full with Kevin McCauley at times, but got a 4-round win.
Seconds out.
Is it the best we've seen John Telford?
Round
Yeah, I
4.
think so. He looks so composed tonight, and that's something we haven't seen from him so far.
Whereas Lee Carter suffered a bad first-round knockout to Ziko Zekov. Luckily, he's fine. Lee tweeting about it, so obviously recovered well. Mark Leach showed some good movement. Went the distance with Brett Fido. Bilal Raymond had his way with Fons Alexander, really. 6-round decision. Lecky Elite was spectacular, taking off Theodore Loznov in 2 rounds. Brutal finish, if you can catch it on any replays. The Doctor, Atif Daniel, 4-round decision over Liam Griffiths, and now we're with Luke Evans in the 4th round with Ibrar Riyaz. Who are the prospects who've caught your eye out and about, Steve? You know, early fights, you know, on the cards, or who people are talking about in the gyms. Is there anyone that people at home should look out for?
Zelfa Barrett.
Yeah.
It's not a bad fight. Not a lot of people talking about is a young kid in London, Sam McNess.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a bad fight. I think he's really cool. Zelfa Barrett, I think, is really exciting. Leon Woodstock's going in the right direction. Got such belief.
How about Josh Leather?
Josh Leather, I'm a big fan of. I think I'm interested to see what Joe Mafoso does from that gym.
Yeah.
He was obviously being a flyweight, it was a lot harder to break him into the mainstream, but I'm looking forward to seeing what he does. But I think Zelfa Barrett's the one that's really, I mean, can you call him a prospect now? He's had 17, 18 fights now.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to him letting him off the leash and just seeing what he is capable of.
A lot of people tell me a lot of good things about Daniel Dubois, but good judges have told me. I mean, I think the thing is, one of the reasons he went professional so early is because, Fraser Clark looks like he's staying with the amateurs, so Fraser's the choice for 2020. Fraser would have to have a couple bad losses in major tournaments, not to keep getting picked for those. Just like Joe Joyce was behind Anthony Joshua, and Fraser Clark was behind Joe Joyce. So it's his turn. So it would have meant Daniel waiting another 8 years for an Olympic to become the first choice.
By which point you're 26.
26, 27 he would have been, yeah.
That is going to be baby steps, isn't it, for Dubois for a good 2 or 3 years?
A lot of people in Sheffield have told me good things about his sparring with Anthony Joe. Sparring is one thing that more than handled himself, but we've got to remember he's 19, so I don't think we're going to see Frank Warren pushing him very quickly. Just like we're talking about how young fighters should be built up, he'll be getting that treatment.
Yeah. 4 rounds completed for Luke Evans, goes into a 5th round for the first time here.
David Boy Essex just tweeted in, don't forget Boy Jones Jr.
Boy Jones Jr. defends his Southern Area title, I think, against Craig Poxon on Box Nation. I'll get that plug in. Next Friday night, we're live from York Hall from 7 o'clock. So tune in if you're not, unless a VIP do anything next Friday. So the only live boxing next Friday's Box Nation.
People will be at home and watch that.
Yeah, Boy Jones Jr. Boy Jones Jr. For him, I speak to him quite a lot, and when he turned pro, to tell him he'd become Southern Area champion, he wouldn't have believed it himself.
10 seconds.
But there again, it's the right matchmaking and the right fights at the right time.
Dominic Negus has really looked after him, hasn't he?
Round
They've
5.
done a good job with him.
I remember when he first appeared on Box Nation, he was just a bag of sticks, wasn't he?
That's
and
right.
He's filled out now.
Yeah, he still is that, but I think he's one of these kids I've got to know him quite well, who's just grateful for every day, what it brings for him.
I was reading about him in Boxing Monthly this month, and another one of the backstories you hear about.
Stories we hear about, yeah.
Crazy, isn't it?
Be interesting. Joshua Buatsi is another fighter who could be anything.
Yeah, he had a very short run, didn't he, to the Olympics, and now he's gone pro quickly.
I think he's mulling over offers now. I think Eddie Frank Warren and Richard Schaefer have all seen him.
Just takes one spectacular performance, doesn't it, in the Olympics?
Yeah.
He got the knockout, didn't he, in his first match, and suddenly becomes a hot property.
He was quite exposed in the semi-final, but he hasn't had the most experience. A lot of people. Lawrence Okoli could be a good pro as well.
Evans' defence has been good tonight, hasn't it? Good head
You know what?
movement.
He's a really good defensive fighter.
Yeah. As pleased I might have put the nicks on him when I put him on the ones to watch in 2017 list on Box Nation, but the always way Ibrar could have come out like I know he's called smoking Joe Frazier left up, but Luke's had him under control.
So the Evans
tonight.
jinx hasn't struck yet, eh?
Not yet. Not yet. No relation, by the way. It's not bias. I think he's a bit of a jewel in Gary Booth's crown. Gary's been around the game for years, hasn't he? He's lost John Telford, but he's had Luke since he was a kid. And I think Luke's the one he's got all his hopes pinned on. cracking gym down in Earlham, that.
Yeah, I haven't been there. Gary's always invited me to amateur shows and stuff down there, but I'm guilty of not run the few gyms in Manchester. I haven't got to. Might be the only one, so perhaps I do need to get there.
It's proper old-fashioned one up there, tiled stairs with terracotta tiles on the walls. Real old-fashioned gym. Don't want to be doing that, Luke. Ibrar's just dragged him into a little bit of showboating there.
Hashtag VIP Boxing Live on Twitter. Let us know what you think. Still to come tonight, we've got Charlie Schofield. And then the main event, Liam Taylor against Angel Emilov over 8 rounds. Mick says, could the Iron Chin Joey Barton have a career in boxing? The Iron Chin Joey Barton have a career in boxing?
The Iron Chin Joey Barton. I'm not entirely sure why they're calling him the Iron Chin.
I think
Joey
that's reference to. Have you seen the game this morning?
I didn't. No, I've not seen it yet.
He went down too easily, we'll say.
Corners.
Put it nicely anyway. He basically dived on the floor holding his face.
Yeah. Did you see it today,
Seconds out.
Steve?
6th and final round.
Somebody's asking us if the Iron Chin Joey Barton could make a professional boxer. I've not seen it.
Unbelievable. The man who was tweeting about cheats in football, I'm not sure whether he missed the incident or what, because whether he can get a 3-game ban or whether the referee did spot it, has let it go.
I've not seen it yet. I was
shocking.
In the car.
It was absolutely, to do that to a non-league player, absolutely shameful.
Was he? Go on, describe it. What was he doing? Was he?
He's put a little stamp on the guy's toes. That happens in penalty boxes. You play football. You're defending in front of a player, especially if it's a big centre half.
Walk backwards and stamp.
Walk backwards. And you have a little stamp on the. I don't mean stamp nasty. Just a little, so they feel that pain, and then you might slip behind them to get. But he did that, and as he slipped behind, the referee's put the centre half has put his arm out to tell the referee what's happened. Barton's just brushed under it and gone down like he's been shot.
Very sensitive skin, hasn't he, Joey, for such a big talker.
It wasn't good to see.
I saw him on Twitter complaining about the non-league players diving around and rolling and stuff like that, but always pleased to see Joey get knocked out of anything, really. So if he got on a boxing ring,
he's not the most popular fella, is he?
Ibrar will be counting down the seconds in his head now. He'll have that 3-minute timer, won't he? Just ready to go off. Get ready for next week.
Been a good performance from Luke actually in there tonight. He's just done everything he's needed to get the win. And those body shots have just, it's the best I've seen him throw the body shot actually.
Of course, talking of prospects, Marcus Morrison's another one.
I was thinking about this the other day, and how about Tom Duran against Marcus Morrison? That'd be seems like the perfect time for both of them.
You know what? I'd go with Morrison.
Yeah, I would.
Obviously, Duran's very dangerous, especially early on, but Joe Gallagher would know that, and I think he'd ride a potential storm and come through very, very well.
Something we always say when we do this, we love the English and area title fights, and that's like I know Sam Sheedy's got a middleweight title fight, hasn't he? But
Commonwealth title fight, Sam's got coming up.
But something like Morrison Duran would be a joy, wouldn't it, for the English title? Except Tom's Welsh, so it couldn't happen, could it? But you know that type of level fight,
10 round eliminator,
perfect.
Just as that fight's finished, we've heard in my ear 40,000 views on Facebook. We've just hit. Absolutely incredible support for the show. I hope you're all enjoying it tonight.
to a gun. Steve, the first time you've seen Luke, what do you think?
Really impressed. Gary Buford told me all about him. Well, he was very good defensively. Yeah, he's going to go in the right direction. You follow his career with interest, but yeah, defensively he looks a very good fighter. And he'll just get better. He's only a baby. That's...
Ladies and gentlemen, after 6 rounds of welterweight action, star referee Phil Edwards has scored this contest 60 points to 54 points for your winner. Now undefeated in 6 professional contests, hailing from the superb city of Salford, Luke Evans. And a man still with a load of energy, always battling, smoking Ibrar.